think accountability is very important because blame game gets nobody nowhere.
So, okay, you've spoken about this. So I want to ask you about what do you think about Ori Ja Style?
How you present yourself in social situations and you want to be, you're eager, I think being eager in life, being a student will always help you and will always present opportunities to you. The first year that we did Dhoom Dhaam, there were so many people that we had to stop entrance and and like tell people to come back a little later because I was scared that there was going to be a stampede like the first 2 years, Yeah, and I'm always telling all my guy friends, I'm like, okay, skinny jeans are out. Like, you guys better like try something else and whatever. But a lot of the guys are like, okay, they enjoy it, so they wear it, and eventually, if you can work it, then you can work it.
Welcome back to PodX. This is me, Ayush Majithia, your host. Our guest for today is Tanya Ghavri. Tanya Ghavri is a celebrity stylist and entrepreneur. She styled people like Sonam Kapoor, Kareena Kapoor, Katrina Kaif, Sara Ali Khan, and so many others. And I'm excited to uncover her journey, her story, the challenges, and her mindset on this podcast. So, Tanya, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here, and I think I'm excited about this interview.
So, Tanya, I wanted to start off with, like your career is a masterclass in creativity and execution. So, I want to start off with the very beginning. So, what's like your earliest memory, and what do you think, why were you drawn towards fashion?
I think my earliest memory would be when I was in school and I was always a bit creative. And I mean, of course, like every other kid, I was like academically inclined as well. And we were like, okay, you have to study and you have to do this. But I was always a bit creatively inclined. And I did my intermediate and my elementary art exams. And I was like working very hard. So I knew I had like a creative bone. And then when I went into college, I actually studied to be an architect. So I did my 12th, until my 12th in science. So I was working towards being an architect. But when I was in the 12th, I realized that, okay, I think I want to study design and then figure what I want to do. So I applied to a lot of design schools all over, the US, and I got into Parsons, and I knew that I wanted to go to Parsons. And when I went to Parsons is when I realized that I want to work in fashion.
So what was like the defining moment at Parsons that gave you that clarity,
I think at Parsons, I did a fundamentals in design course, which had like 3D design, product design, 2D design, fashion. It had, art history, it had like everything, right? But when I was doing my course, which had, projects that were fashion related, I knew my energies were a lot in that, and I knew that I was kind of really focused and the most interested in that. That's when I figured that I think New York City in general, I think over the year, I got very inspired by fashion, and Parsons had a lot of alumni, which was Marc Jacobs and, Maggie Norris, and a lot of like designers and costume designers that were like legendary, and they were all from Parsons, and they would come and give all these lectures, and I was so interested in their journey, and I knew that that was my calling. And I think so, I wouldn't say there was a one defining moment. I think through my year in Parsons, the whole year was defining for me. Yeah.
Okay, wow, that's really interesting. But when we were speaking on call, you told me this really interesting thing that when you started out, you were interning at you interned at different places, and now you're here today. So what were your initial years like?
I think my initial years, when I went to Parsons, I came back to India, and I continued to study actually after Parsons, because I'd only done an associate's degree course. So I continued to study in India at SNDT, and I did a 2.5-year course in SNDT in apparel manufacturing design. And while I was doing that course, I was taking every single internship that came my way. Like, so I interned supplement issue at Vogue. I worked with Shiraz Siddiqui, who was a stylist, a costume designer even today. I worked with him. I worked with Mamta Anand, who was a stylist. So, every single opportunity that I got to work and learn, I would go to set and I would learn and I would intern and I would assist, because I was just taking in every single opportunity I got to learn. Because I knew that anything I do, school and college and all of that is super important. All the theory you learn, it really helps you eventually. But I knew that taking every experience in for when you go to work actually is so important because it teaches you everything you need to know. You learn on field, and that's the biggest fashion school. So I think, yeah, I think I did a lot of internships and gave me a lot of experience. And then I think when I was about to finish apparel manufacturing design, literally 2 years into my course, Ria and Sonam were making Aisha, and Pernia was the stylist on Aisha, and I assisted her, and that was how I forayed into fashion styling.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have like a crazy story which is very similar to what you said about internships. Like you said about the learning part, where we learn through more of our work experiences.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I currently am in the founding team of a fintech neobank. So
interesting.
So over there I've learned a lot about banking, and basically when we had the subject of banking in like last semester, I didn't have to study for that at all.
Yeah, because you must have learned so much on field, every day through the process of working in a tech company that's teaching you every day through, like different, you're firefighting issues every day, and you're learning from that. So I think that's how you learn. And I'm not saying that going to school and college and learning and doing an expertise in a field is super important, because it really helps. So if you have the resources to do that, you do that. Take in all of the knowledge you can, whether it's at school, whether it's on field, all of them. It's infinite, right? Knowledge and experience. So you keep doing it. Like I'm learning even today, 15 years down the line, I'm still learning. I still want to get better at my job. So yeah, it's like you learn constantly. You keep learning, until I'm hoping that I will be learning even at 60, in my 70s and my 80s. Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you this. So like you spoke about Bollywood. So now Bollywood is like a remarkable industry. And when you look at it, every celebrity, every actor has their own individual styles. And even if some outfit looks good on two different celebrities, I've never seen two celebrities wearing the same outfits and all. So how do you like maintain that individuality and you create that something which connects with your personality and matches them? So how do you do that?
I think it's very important. I always say that people that you work with for a very long time, you kind of bond with them, connect with them, understand them, and then you end up doing your best work with them as well. So I think it's very important. Like all the celebrities that I work with, I have a personal relationship with them. I love chatting with them about what they like, what their style is, what their personality is. Everyone is different, Sarah is different from Karina, and Karina is different from Katrina is different from Frida, or Janvi or Kushi. Everyone has their individual style, which is very innate and unique to them. So understanding their personality, getting to know them, bonding with them, and then finally dressing them to, and finding a USP that's unique to them, Yeah.
But were there like times when things didn't go as planned? Maybe there were
Of course.
So how do you
Lots. I mean, it's a job and it's a creative job. Of course, there are disagreements, there have been mishaps, there have been mistakes. Some things I felt were correct. I'm human. I've made faults, they've not worked out. But it's also a creative field, So some things could work for me in my eyes, but when it goes out in the world, it doesn't work, and there's criticism instantly. There's instant gratification, instant criticism, because I'm styling celebrities. I kind of take it in my stride, because if you post something and 10 people are saying, okay, she looks really weird, or this is not suiting her, or hundreds of people are saying that, then you got to look at it as constructive criticism, because you're putting your work out there and people have something to say, and you might be like, okay, this, I really liked it, you can say that, but maybe it's not worked for a majority of the audience, and you have to come back and look at it again and take that criticism, and then when people are applauding you, you enjoy that as well, So I kind of take it with a pinch of salt, and I understand that that's the job. And, like I said, I think it's very important to just keep learning and understanding and comprehending, what is going on around you. And not kind of getting lost in your head in some bubble where you're like, oh, everything I do is gold, That's not how the world works. Yeah.
So, okay, you've spoken about this. So I wanted to ask you about what do you think about Ori Ja style? She's gotten a lot of criticism for the type of clothes she wears. Her style and her sense is completely different. So, what are your thoughts and perspective on that?
I mean, my thoughts are I am a stylist, I'm a creative person. I understand everyone is trying to express themselves through the medium of clothes, and this is her way of expressing herself. And as long as she's happy, she's confident, she's enjoying herself, and she wakes up excited about, wearing clothes and feeling good, then I feel like I'm all for, I'm all for feeling like, as long as she feels empowered, I'm all about women feeling empowered, feeling confident in their skin. So as long as she's happy and she's enjoying it, and she whether someone's criticizing her, someone's applauding her, she's just doing exactly what she wants. So good for her.
That's an amazing perspective.
Yeah.
I'm gonna clip this out and put it on YouTube, and I'm gonna get a lot of views from this.
Awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you: is there like a particular look of a celebrity that you've styled that you've been extremely proud of, and what's the story behind it? Then?
I mean, I think one of my proudest moments would have to be when I styled, because I mean, everybody wants to style for the Vanity Fair red carpet, the after party. Everybody wants to style for the BAFTAs and the SAGs and like, Independent Spirit Awards and like all these amazing award functions that happen in LA, which are on a global scale, or the Venice Film Festival or Cannes. I think, and I think I may have done all of them,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think I've done it maybe with different people. Can I've done with, different people, but I've done a lot of the international events with Frida. So I think there have been a few of those moments with Frida where I had to pinch myself and I'm like, wow, like I'm styling someone for a global stage, and that was very exciting for me. Your audience is very massive, it's global, it's not just India, it's not just Indians all over the world. It's a global audience, and it's so exciting. So I think there have been a few moments like that with Frida, and she was gracious enough to give me the opportunity when I was so young, and kind of had faith in me to let me do all those appearances. So yeah, I think that was really exciting for me.
Wow. So also like you're not just a stylist, you're an entrepreneur. So you with Dhoom Dhaam Weddings. So I wanted to come to that part. So what sparked that within you? That you want to not just focus on styling celebrities, but also going beyond and starting your own venture.
I think I would have to give all the credit to my co-founder Ashi Dua, because I was styling and I was very busy styling celebrities, and I was very hectic with all that. And she came to me and she was like, you know what? Why don't we start a company where you can take all of your expertise to people that need your help as well, besides celebrities, people that want to get introduced to new brands and people that would love some styling advice from you. Why don't we set up a company that allows you to go on ground and actually, and also discover a lot of new Indian designers in India that are budding, that are made in India, that are, interesting and exciting and could be the next big name in India, could be the next big Sabyasachi or the next big Manish Malhotra. Why don't you give a platform to these, designers? So that's how the brainchild of Dhoom Dham happened. 2016-17 is when we started, and then now it's been a couple of years that we've been doing trunk shows. We were doing just Bombay, but now we're through many cities. Now it's pan India. We've taken it to Dubai, and hopefully we'll take it global.
It will happen, I'm sure about
Yeah, fingers crossed.
So how do you like juggle these two worlds though? And how do you like manage your time?
I have to say, to juggle the worlds, you need very, very strong teams, because honestly, whether it's celebrity styling or Dhoom Dham, it's not just me, it's my team, and they are really on top of it. Whether it's my manager, who is like the backbone of my company, or all my assistants who've been around for donkey's years working with me at Dhoom Dham and at my styling firm. All of them really put in a lot of work, and I think at the end of the day, it's me and my team that's putting all the looks together, Dhoom Dham together. So it's not just you. It's always a team of people. Yeah.
I really love that mindset that you have, that you're like giving credit to everyone. So it's just amazing.
Thank you. No, but it's true. I mean, I would not be here without them doing this interview as well. Yeah.
So I want to ask you this question then. Like, when you look back, what is one of the biggest challenges that you faced in terms of Dhoom Dhaam Weddings? And how do you deal with that? Like, if there's a story that you can share if you have.
I mean, there have been loads of stories for Dhoom Dhaam. There have been times when, we're setting up and we always get the venue like a night before, and we have like 7 hours to set up the whole trunk show, and then some designers don't show up, or we're like nail biting because the first 2 hours nobody's like, people have not shown up, and then suddenly there's an influx of people, and there have been catastrophic moments, when you're doing events. All of this is very normal. All of this happens. The first year that we did Dhoom Dhaam, there were so many people that we had to stop entrance and and tell people to come back a little later, because I was scared that there was going to be a stampede like the first 2 years, and then of course now we do Dhoom Dhaam for 2 days in Bombay and whatever. But like sometimes there are moments that get so crowded that I'm like, oh my God, like I want people to have a good shopping experience, But now we've kind of organized it in a way that I think in the last couple of years it's been very good and it's been very smooth. People need to come and enjoy the experience of shopping, not just buying one outfit, They need to come, hang out, chill with their friends, talk to me and my team, just enjoy themselves. It needs to be like a day out with your friends and family. So we make sure that we let that happen now. Yeah.
Like talking to you, there's this, I feel like you're someone who takes up accountability very seriously. Like, you take it up onto yourself that this is your responsibility.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
How did you like develop that mindset? Because that's something which I'm still struggling with. I'll tell you my story. The reason being that a lot of times, mine is very smaller level. It's like in college level where we're like doing group projects and all that stuff. And then I'm like, okay, it's not my fault. It's someone else's fault. I did my work. This guy didn't do his work. That's why we got less marks and all.
Yeah.
So, but yours is like on a much larger scale.
Yeah.
Even if you do like one mistake when the celebrity styling goes wrong, there's an issue. Even with Dhoom Dhaam Weddings, if there's an error, it can be very fatal. So how do you develop that?
I think accountability is very important because blame game gets nobody nowhere, So if you have, first of all, if you have taken something, it is your responsibility. So I will put in more than 100%. Having said that, there are times when something doesn't work, situations, I'm not at the location of, because say I'm doing multiple shoots and sometimes a day goes out of control, it can happen, it has happened, and then I will always, if I think it's my mistake, I will always apologize, and I'll be like, okay, we will do better next time, we will make sure that doesn't happen, and we will organize better, and whether it's my team, I'll always tell my team that no, this is how it's supposed to be done. But I think there's a book that I've been reading that I'm, I think, a bit late on, but by James Clear, called Atomic Habits. And everybody, I mean, it's worldwide, it's a loved book. But now that I read it, I see so many things in the book that I can, inculcate in my life. But there are so many things in the book that I already have been doing for years, without even knowing, because it's just a part of my personality, which is that if I've been given a responsibility, I will take it on very seriously and I will follow up till it's done, So it's not just about me giving an instruction to my team or sending an email to someone saying, I need something. I will follow up. I will make sure it's done, So until you do that, there will be mistakes and mishaps that will happen. You have to make sure you're following up and you're making sure something is done the right way, because that is your responsibility. And then if you don't do that, you have to be accountable for a mistake that you made and get better next time, You're going to make mistakes. That's life. How are you going to learn if you don't make mistakes, So what they say is that, actually it's very interesting. They say that it's not a mistake, it's a lesson learned, So so when you do something that doesn't work, it's a lesson that you've learned and you can be better next time. Yeah.
I have like a lot of mindset questions in my mind that are coming. So while we are having this conversation, I'm learning so much from you. So I wanted to ask you this. This is like completely for me. I don't know if the audience would want to know this or not, but how do you create opportunities? Like, how do you go out there and do that?
I think, again, to go back to the idea of like grasping every bit of knowledge that you can get, and most importantly, I've said this in an earlier interview as well, just drop your ego. And I think in the beginning of your career, I would give this advice, like, follow what you love to do, follow your passion, follow learning, follow knowledge. Don't follow money. Money will come, money will come over time. Once you get really good at something and you know that you can't be replaced, money is going to come follow you. So I think it's very important. And I did that in the beginning of my career. I was just focused on doing amazing work, working with amazing girls, like whether it was Aishwarya Rai or Sonam Kapoor or Katrina Kaif or Kareena Kapoor. I was like, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to make sure that every event that I do, they look 10 on 10. Like, that was my focus. And then money was like a byproduct of what happened eventually. And I'm not saying that there are many people that come. I mean, I'm very thankful that I come from a background where, initially, I may not have been making too much money, but of course I had a roof over my head and food being served to me, all of that. Like, I'm very grateful for that. But I also had a lot of times where, I used to get paid for a month and spend all that money on styling. You know what I mean? On like things that I wanted to do within my work to make my styling better. Because I was really focused on making sure that I do a good job. And I knew money was going to come. It slowly over the years, it did come. So I think money is a byproduct. And of course, I'm not saying you have to get paid for your work so that nobody takes advantage of you. But just focusing on that from the very beginning kind of takes your focus away from the real job. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had like a different story on opportunities. It's like basically, so when I was 14, I read this quote, which is basically you create opportunities by asking. If I want to
100%.
get something done,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you. If I never ask you, if I never
Exactly.
asked you on the podcast, you would have never known that. I was doing a
100%.
podcast.
I think so. I think gaining knowledge will come from asking questions, being observant, doing every little thing that you may feel, oh my god, this is below me, I'm not going to do it. Like, but nothing is below you. You got to do everything that comes your way. The standing example of that is someone like Manish Malhotra. Like, you just look at him at work, look at him otherwise, and you learn so much from him. There's a reason why that man is where he is because he just is working. He's dropped his ego, he's dropped everything, and he's just focused on the work, and he's created opportunities because of all these things, because of his relations with people, because of your interpersonal relations with people also will help you with opportunities. How you present yourself in social situations, and you want to be, you're eager. I think being eager in life, being a student, will always help you and will always present opportunities to you. Yeah.
Correct. So I wanted to ask you this: how do you find inspiration for your work? Is it through art? Is it through reading? Is it through travel, music?
I think it's all of it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm more of a visual person. So, like, constantly looking at amazing content, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's listening to podcasts, whether it's watching shows and and amazing movies. Definitely all of that. Looking at what's happening in fashion all over the world. And I think traveling is a massive part of my life. I'm constantly traveling, constantly observing, looking at people. Even, I think, relationships in your life, people around you, how they're dressing, what is the need of the hour, all of that. I think these are, I mean, I'm constantly inspired, around me. And I think it's just become a part of who I am and my life. And I'm always looking up to people as well. There are lots of people around me, a lot of celebrities, icons, legends, whether it's in fashion, film, the business world. even someone supremely smart that may not be a fashion icon can inspire me, just by the way they speak.
Correct.
So yeah, I think when you're a creative person and when you're someone who's constantly eager to learn, you're constantly getting inspired by everything around you. Yeah.
But I don't know if you know this, but like you said, you look up to other people. There are a lot of people that look up to you.
Oh, thank you.
And
I hope so. I hope lots of young girls and guys and people and kids look up to my journey and want to do something and make a name for themselves and make a place for themselves. I'd be very happy if a lot of people are able to do that, and I'm a small part of their journey. Yeah.
Well, there's this question which my friend actually specifically told me to ask you this while we're speaking about this topic. She was like, if there's someone else who is starting out in this business, who's starting out in this world, what would be your advice to that person?
Wow, I have a lot of advice, but I think my advice would be that be ready to work really, really hard and it's as simple as that and as cliche, if you can say. But honestly, I always say that someone who is supremely smart, supremely intelligent, um, fast learner, all of that, the hard worker will always surpass that person because the hard worker is ready to put in the hours, the time, the effort, the love, the intent, everything. So I think there is just zero compromise on working hard, and I've seen a lot of actors around me. The ones that work super super hard are the ones that eventually, um, surpass and are super successful. There's just no uh, alternate for that. And I think one person I must mention who I've seen is probably one of the hardest workers out of all the actors that I've worked with is Katrina. She goes above and beyond her mental strength, her physical strength, she's extremely spiritual, all of it. She goes above and beyond to get her job done to not 100 or 200%. And I think I've learned a lot from her along the way.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you've seen the fashion industry, though you've been in this for so long. So what's one of the most amazing trends that you've witnessed over the years, or one of the best transformation that you've seen in the industry?
Wow. The best transformations. I think Deepika Padukone is definitely an insane transformation. Like when she started off, if you see her appearances from when she had just started off and she just done Om Shanti Om to becoming a legend and an icon and, looking like $1 million, I think it's just been an incredible transformation. Or even someone like Karina, who I've been a part of her journey to when she was younger and she was always, drop dead gorgeous. But I think she's had a very amazing fashion evolution over the years. She has found her style and she's really experimented, and she's been like a beautiful commercial actress, and she's always kind of worn things that are hot and trending, but then she's kind of found her space as well, and today she's kind of considered like a icon even when it comes to fashion, because her fashion choices are always on point. Whether it's me or anyone else styling her, I think she has an innate sense herself and she's picking the right things that suit her. So I think definitely that's an amazing transformation. And I think a transformation that the world is talking about right now is Lindsay Lohan. And she's had a major glow up. So I think she's definitely someone who's had a massive transformation this year. I think this is her year. Yeah.
But also another question, so how do you maintain depth and authenticity in your work? Because if you look at it now with influencers and social media, fast fashion is at its peak.
Yeah.
So how do you do that and keep
I
yourself?
think as years are going by, I think I'm getting more and more interested in designers that are being ethical, that are being eco-friendly, that are being and I'm not saying that I'm using only sustainable designers, but I have a sustainable approach when I'm styling someone, or I'm sustainable. I have a sustainable approach to my life as well, where I've realized that if I buy something new, I have to get rid of something old because I don't want to be a hoarder. So I think how I'm being deeper in my approach towards my work is that by reading more, having more information, understanding where the world is going and why I need to be mindful. I think mindfulness is very important in everything in life, at your work, for yourself, in terms of your fitness, your nutrition. I think in general, I wake up and I'm like, today I'm going to be as mindful as I can with my choices at work, with my purchase choices, with everything, every single thing, fitness related, self-care related, spiritually, in all ways. So I think understanding, reading, getting as much knowledge, information as possible, and doing what I can, with I don't think I'm such a maximal person, and I've never had that issue where I'm like, I like too many things, so I'm anyway Libran, so I like a few things and I like to use them well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you this: when you think about the future, what do you think is like the most exciting thing that's up yet to come for Indian fashion?
Wow. I think, um, I mean, of course, all the designers love to make like all these runway pieces that are the new collections, and you know but as we know, in the world there's a lot of fashion is responsible for a lot of waste in the world. There are millions and gazillions of designers. They're all making 3 to 4 collections a year. A lot of them are sample pieces, and they're going into circulation. But can you imagine, out of the millions of designers in India, how much waste is getting garnered every year? So I'm really hoping that fashion comes to a point where, I think this is where AI could really maybe be beneficial, that maybe collections can happen online and things can only be produced when they are required or ordered, as opposed to like hundreds and hundreds of garments just getting made and getting stacked in and then eventually going into waste. I don't know how feasible that is. I don't know how, we're hoping that can be worked out in a better way. But I'm really hoping that we come to a point where we figure out a way where fashion waste becomes lesser and lesser over the years, because it's very scary what's happening, in the world. And that's a discussion for another time. But I'm hoping that we're all a part of making things better. Yeah.
So this one's like I have last 2 questions. The second last one is a little odd. What are your thoughts on skinny jeans?
I used to love skinny jeans, and I always feel like, it always comes back. Fashion is circular. So something that was in the 90s or early 2000s will find its way to come back now, because now it's a kind of little bit out of fashion, and I don't like wearing skinny jeans myself because I want to be comfortable, and I'm always running around or I'm traveling. So I love the idea of boyfriend jeans, and I hope they stay for a while. But whether it's straight or boyfriend or like super easy fit jeans, baggy jeans, as baggy as it gets, I love it. But I do think, like I said, it is circular. It will come back. So whether or not I like it, I know it will be back. But yeah, I don't personally love skinny jeans. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be happy when it's back.
I know all the boys seem to love it. And I'm always telling all my guy friends, I'm like, okay, skinny jeans are out. Like, you guys better like try something else and whatever. But a lot of the guys are like, okay, they enjoy it, so they wear it, and eventually, if you can work it, then you can work it. Yeah.
So what would be your last advice for anyone who's listening or watching this podcast?
I think my advice would be that it's amazing that there are lots of podcasts like this by young people like Ayush, and I think it's exciting, and I feel like it creates a wider audience for you as well, to reach to more people and hopefully inspire more people. And so I think it's been a really fun experience, and I think YouTube is such a great, whether it's Instagram or YouTube, all of it is such a great medium to get all of this experience and knowledge to more people. So yeah, kudos to you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Tanya.
you.
It was really amazing having you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care.